It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. At this time, I would like to read a proclamation. Is the Compassion Network, Piqua Compassion?
She's there.
Yes, Rebecca. Hi.
I'm good. How about you?
Come over here so they can hear us.
Okay.
Okay. Whereas the Piqua Compassion Network, organized in April of 2007, helped to meet the needs of Piqua residents in crisis and in poverty. And whereas with funding provided by churches, the Piqua Association of Churches, local foundations, and from grants, Piqua Compassion Network opened its doors officially on Tuesday, September 4th, 2007. And whereas by the beginning of Piqua Compassion Network's 4th year, the founders transitioned Piqua Compassion Network into its current mission to meet basic needs assistance, but also provided a Getting Ahead anti-poverty course. And whereas Piqua Compassion Network's board hired executive director, Rebecca Susek, and whereas today, Piqua Compassion Network provides an assessment center, referrals to county-wide services, basic needs assistance, spiritual support, celebrates recovery through a 12-step program, financial-based programs, job workshops, life skills training programs, and now, therefore, board members, church partners, community partners, citizens celebrate this day, September 6th, 2022, as the 15th anniversary of the Piqua Compassion Network, offering hope, basic needs, and new programs for our Piqua citizens. I render that here, Cynthia Pearson, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
We're so proud. We're so proud.
Are there other members?
Oh, yes. I have everybody
stand up.
associated with
Let's
Piqua
see who
Compassion
you are.
Network.
Why don't they all go up there so we can get a picture?
Yes.
Come on
come
up.
on,
Yes.
come up.
Come
Yeah,
up.
come on.
Come on down.
I'll wait for them to assemble, and I'll tell you who we have represented. We have quite a cross-section of the
This is
community.
great.
All right.
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
Think
Yes.
about all the good you guys are doing. We
Hello.
appreciate you.
Yes.
Good to have you.
Yes.
I'm so
Yes.
glad you all came.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Gosh, I'm so sorry. Whoops, that fell.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, and while these folks are up here, I do want to just let everybody know, we have, Dave, you're not going to get away.
Nope, stay
We
there.
have representation of our board members, starting with the leadership team of Piqua Compassion Network, Dr. Jane Salisbury, our board president. We have our secretary, Pastor Stacy Scott. We have Tom Hill here with us. He's our treasurer. We have Paul Couch from Grace Christian, Dave Fishback, Gloria Riley Smith, who is one of the original members. We started at the Bethany Center. That was the first place that we opened our doors. And Gloria is original to there. We have Susan Hopkins, who's one of our awesome volunteers, and Tony Thompson, who is absolutely one of my people that helps me keep all access, all of our files. And I'll be having some numbers to present later in the month. Who have I forgotten? Wayne and Shelley. Wayne and Shelley, our two newest programs. Wayne is our representative. Wayne Davey is one of my facilitators for our Celebrate Recovery. I have to tell you, Chief Jameson came to me back shortly after I started, and we did Hope Over Heroin. And we decided, instead of having one Place Do Celebrate Recovery, we wanted to do a faith-based recovery program. And so in January, it'll be 5 years we celebrate that program, and Wayne is one of our awesome leaders with that.
Nice.
And Shelley is our newest member, and she represents our wonderful upcoming Power Project and the things with the schools and our partnership with helping our young people. We have an awesome compassion project that we're going to release to the community here this month. We're going to fill this month full of awesome compassion projects. We started at the Bethany Center. We moved over to Pastor Stacy's. Oh, Jana, I forgot my other board member. Jana's standing over here. Jana Warren, you probably remember her from her and Kirby business community members. She's a longtime board member as well with Piqua Compassion Network.
Awesome.
And where are you located now?
We are now at the back of Westminster Presbyterian Church. They had all that space open, and that's where we're excited to start our new, our Piqua Compassion Network 2.0. We have all of that education space, and we are in there with Green Street Food Pantry. The Boy Scouts are in there, and we're hoping to create even some more partnerships. So it's wonderful to be a part of the community, and we just thank the city, our partnership with our Celebrate Recovery Chief Byron and the folks, and our new partnerships, and having UC, it's a wonderful cross-section. We're carrying that tradition that those volunteers, all of them 15 years ago, we're still going strong, and we're seeing even more.
Yes.
So thank you.
Casey,
Thank you so much.
Casey was a part of our board back in the day as well. We served
Yes.
together
Yeah.
many years as well.
Yeah, and I have to say, as a former pastor in this community, I know what good you do, and it's been so exciting for me just to see the movement and how it's grown,
Yes.
and all the wonderful programs that are coming out of this.
And-
I know one of your focuses is a hand up, not a hand
Yes,
down.
yes.
Yes. to move
And,
people out.
and the other thing that we're doing is for the one. We see people on a one-on-one basis and meet them where they are and really be able to help move them through. So we thank you for this. We thank you for the time.
Oh, we support
And
you.
we're just excited about all we're doing. Thank you so much, Mayor Pierce.
What a great organization.
Yes, it is.
You're amazing. Pick was lucky. Okay, and I believe there's a presentation made by the Miami County Community Action Council. Are you all here? There. Come on up.
Okay, hi, my name's Keith Gunderklein. I'm the Executive Director of the Miami County Community Action Council and the Miami the Housing Authority for the county also, work out a dual agency. This is Mandy Tice. She's also the occupancy specialist and the landlord liaison for our agency, and she can help answer some questions here. I was just going to give you a very brief overview and then just see if you have any other questions. So like I said, first thing is just to know that we're a dual agency between being a housing authority and a community action agency. So we have all the traditional energy assistance programs, for example, HEAP, PIP, winter crisis, summer crisis. A lot of people are familiar with those that we administer from federal to state dollars that come down to us. And also then as the housing authority, we have 127 units in the county that we own and manage, of which 40 are here in Piqua on the south side at Washington Commons. The other ones are actually in Troy. And then we have up to 985 housing choice vouchers, are often called the Section 8 program, that are here in Piqua. And I just gathered from Chris is kind of a new member of our board who replaced Janelle Randley, one of your city planners here from a while ago on the Community Action Board. And he suggested that you might have some questions, or it might be good just to make a personal connection with folks here about what we're doing. And we work closely with Rebecca. I guess they're all gone now, but yeah, Rebecca's been a good colleague of ours working with our agency, and we do a lot of referrals back and forth. So it's been a very productive relationship. So with that, I'll just see if you have any other questions. I'd be glad to try to answer anything between Mandy or myself.
All right.
Do you network with the county housing that Dorothy Crusoe?
We do, yes. So if they automatically, if they're working with them, they automatically have them sign up with this voucher
Great.
program. That way, we can lease them up, and then they can go on to help other folks that can't get the voucher at that time.
Love it. That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, we work a lot with them.
So you work with all of, I mean, where in Piqua are you working? Did you say Washington Commons?
Washington Commons is the one public housing unit that we own and manage.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
Currently, we have 370 voucher holders in Piqua right now.
Okay,
And Troy has the same exact number.
okay.
Thought that was funny.
So are you overseeing all of those vouchers here in Piqua?
Not just me, there's other
There's other
Section 8
people. The reason why I'm
caseworkers.
asking is I've heard that there are people coming from outside the county in with vouchers into some of our apartments and living situations, which, I mean, I would assume they're just for Miami County people. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have folks that, and you can get online and apply. We have a lot of folks coming from Columbus now.
Yes.
Even Dayton, because of the waiting list there, their waiting lists are closed for those counties. We have the shortest waiting list around. So they can apply here,
Even if they don't live here?
they can.
Oh.
It's a federal, since these programs are federal programs, we've explored some of that. I mean, I don't want to get into the great detail, but there is a possibility, it's never been done before, to try to have a residency preference, but it's fraught with some other challenges about potentially discriminatory kind of actions and so on. So at this point, right, anybody can apply, and also anybody can leave if they get a voucher here. They can leave to go elsewhere, anywhere in the country. That's just a key feature of the portability program.
Yes.
And take the voucher anywhere in the country, not
Yes.
just in the state. So
Absolutely.
it's basically a USA voucher that wherever they
Yes.
can have affordable housing.
Yep, so if
Okay.
they have their time here, they lease up here for 1 year, and they want to transfer anywhere, they can do that with the portability.
Okay. Well, that's good education, because that's not how I think I had heard it, so, yeah.
That's not
just
what
to
most
clarify-
people think about.
Yeah, it isn't, yeah.
But there's
Right.
not a lot of, would you have an idea about how many ports a year, maybe? It's not that many, is it?
Yeah.
Recently,
More
we've
so?
had more,
Yeah.
yeah.
So in that situation, I mean, I guess, is there an ability to give a preference to a Miami County person over a Columbus or Cincinnati person, or does it really matter?
With our waiting list being
So
very short,
yeah.
we will take, there's absolutely no preference for anything right now.
So basically, if there's a Miami County person that needed this, they would be able to find something.
If they're willing,
Housing.
yeah, and that 6-month waiting list, that's, which is approximate,
Right.
but that seems like where it
Right.
tends to be all the time, right?
Okay, about 6
Yes.
months? Okay.
Yeah, and we're leasing quickly. Like,
Okay.
we are diligently trying to lease up many per month just to keep our vouchers open.
Excellent. Well, this is great education, because I don't think I think we were a little
didn't know.
confused on how it worked,
I think
so
it helps the
it really
communities.
does help, thank you.
What's your relationship with the Wood Street loft apartments?
We work closely with them.
Okay.
Yes, and when they started, we got information for them, put them on our unit availability list. So yeah, we have, I don't know how many folks we have out there right now, but yeah, we definitely have some voucher holders there.
Just to clarify that a little bit, that, I mean, the difference between our public housing program that we own and manage, and we are the landlord, the voucher program, and I just want to make sure you understand that it's private landlords. Once they get their assistance from us, they pay, 30 to 40% of their adjusted income for rent, and we cover the difference to the landlord, but the landlord still is in charge. They're the ones who have the lease for the tenant and are responsible for the day-to-day management. And so there's kind of a hands-off automatic part to that.
Yes, so we do the subsidy for those voucher holders. However, we do kind of get involved with, if there's issues, like right now with me being the landlord liaison, if there's issues that the landlord has, I kind of be like the third person to try to get involved and see if there's any issues there that we can resolve, to keep the landlords happy and keep our tenants happy and leased up.
And some of those landlords could be people who have local apartments, houses, things like that, if they
Absolutely.
qualify for that, so, okay.
You're aware probably that there are some concerns for the Wood Street loft apartments.
we have had, I do communicate with the manager. If there's anything going on, we will communicate with the manager. But it also has to be, you know, we look at the contract that they sign, if there's anything that's outside of that or whatever. But we do listen to the tenants if there's any issues there. You know, we will try to get involved in that.
Talk to the police as well.
If we need to, we can, you know, request reports or anything like that.
Usually that's getting close to being on the edges of what we would get into.
Right,
That's a
right.
part of our bailiwick.
And
yes.
I don't know if you can answer this. I know that I was on the commission when this whole thing started with the Wood Apartments, and there was a lot of conversation from, I think it was the St. Mary's Corporation, about
Yes.
some social work or some job readiness happening there and whatever, and I don't know if that's happening there. I mean, that was, when it was presented to the commission, it was presented with some job readiness, which we thought was fabulous, kind of similar to what PCN does for the clients. And am I wrong, social work, that there was going to be some type of social work and some classes and things like that to help the folks that are living there? And I know, I don't mean to put you on the spot, I'm just bringing that up because we've been trying, as a commission, to figure out, because it seems like that's not happening at Wood Lofts, or Wood Apartments, and I don't know if that's true or
I
not.
have never heard that.
You have
I
never heard it?
Yeah.
That's
I have
how
never
it
heard
was-
they were doing any type of social
That
work
was how
there.
it was presented to us when we approved it.
You know, I don't know anything about the Wood Street Lofts in particular in that regard, but just in my previous experience, I've worked, I'm familiar with what St. Mary's and a lot of developments they've done in the greater Dayton area in some ways, and it's very common for them to have what they call service coordinators who provide, do more than just management, they're trying to do more support kind of things, and that's been very typical for them, so I'm not surprised that would have been part of their plan. As to how that's actually materialized or not, I have no idea. It sounds
Yeah,
unfortunate.
and we don't mean to put you, I mean, it
Yeah,
just,
it's okay.
yeah, we've just had questions about it, so.
Sure, and I've never had any of the tenants mention it, or the manager there or anything, mention any type of social work activities.
And I would think for some of those tenants, that might be very helpful, so.
The other issue that I would raise is that when that proposal was first made, I volunteered to be on their board, and they have no board. And so my concern would be, it might be nice to have some local control or some local input on the facility, how it's run, and those kinds of issues, and I would advocate for that.
Yeah, I don't know that there would be a role for us in that regard. They're their own separate nonprofit entity, and
Right.
we've got there's a lot of other private entities who also own and manage some of the subsidized housing, and that's obviously the latest one that's
Right.
come to your attention.
Well, and we have a lot of landlords that do, but I think this entirely was kind of, if you will, was sold to us in that sense, so we just felt very positive about it. But obviously, you're in charge of the voucher program for anybody that has vouchers, and then you manage Washington Commons, which to me, I think is a very wonderful, apartment complex in the city, and I don't think we have much problems there at all, yeah.
Problems. I don't know.
I'm looking at,
Chief knows.
Commissioner Lee is or Vice Mayor Lee is a former police officer, so he's
Yeah,
kind of
I've
our
been out there
connection,
before,
so,
but Not very often.
yeah.
And we like to think we take care of that pretty well.
You do,
so.
and
You
we
do.
appreciate what you do.
Yeah, we
Thank
really do. And we appreciate what you do for our citizens, because it does provide, we want people to have affordable housing, and we want people to have a roof over their heads. I mean, that's what everybody desires and everybody deserves, so, yeah. Thank you.
Anything else from anybody?
Thanks,
Okay,
guys.
thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on with our consent agenda. Approval of the minutes. You have a
Approval of
motion.
Minutes from the August 16th, 2022 regular city commission meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the minutes is passed. Under old business, we have a resolution that has been tabled to the September 20th meeting. So we'll move on to new business.
Resolution R-99-22, a resolution to establish Pickwa Small Business Grant Program.
Okay.
Ms. Shweezing.
Thank you. Members of the commission, this item is before you this evening as a result of the ARPA funds that the community had received. As you'll recall, we accepted those under the terms of net loss revenue. But in doing so, it's allowed us to free up some funds in the general fund to be able to implement this program along with the Economic Development Revolving Loan Fund that we previously implemented. This program will focus on downtown and the surrounding neighborhoods as it relates to supporting small business owners and operators. The allocation that had been previously identified and determined by the commission is $350,000, which would come from the 2022 budget and/or 23. And the program terms that we've defined are really focused on facade improvements, building renovations, those kind of things that generate additional investment and economic activity in the small business community in Pickwa. If authorized, we've got the application process set up, ready to roll. We're coordinating with Main Street Pickwa, plan to host a couple workshops with the downtown merchants and anyone else in the community interested to really walk them through the program terms and explain how things would work. You can see in your packet, it's a matching grant program. So once the funds are expended, the program will discontinue unless it were to be funded again at some point in the future. And with that, I'll stop and happy to answer any questions.
Are we talking about $350,000 for 22 and an additional $350,000 for 23?
No, it's 350 in total. And I believe the majority of it will come from the 2022 budget, but given where we're at on the calendar year, it may spill over into 23.
Chris, when I read this, I know that we recently had the money for the facade improvement, the grant, it's left my name of what it is, so, but what's it called? The
Downtown Facade Grant Program.
Yeah. So, but this is obviously not just for facade, but it's also for inside as well, for renovation?
Building renovations, and yes, exterior and interior.
Okay.
The interior, if it's of significance, enough significance that it's providing an impact in terms of the experience and utilization of the space as it relates to the patrons that would frequent the business and/or the life safety, comfort of the individuals occupying the space.
Okay, great. Okay, that's good because the other one was just used for the facade, for the outer.
Yep,
so.
and with this being funded with local dollars, we have fewer strings attached, as where with the Downtown Facade Grant Program was through the Community Development Block Grant Program, and there's always a lot more that has to be considered when you're utilizing those funds. The intent here was to make this program as straightforward as possible so that it's easy for downtown business owners and building owners to utilize. And so it's by intention not overly complicated.
All right.
That's great.
When will that be available if we?
So we're ready to roll it out immediately. We have September 22nd targeted for the workshops that we're going to host with Main Street's coordination, one in the morning and one in the evening.
Okay.
And so we'll open an initial application period upon commission authorizing it. And then that first application period would run for a period of time. We haven't defined a date at this point, but I would imagine end of October, early November, somewhere in that time frame. We'll see how the responses are rolling, and then those applications would go back to the committee that was previously formed with the Economic Development Revolving Loan Fund, and they would review them and kind of prioritize them, determine which ones they feel like meet the criteria defined here. And then that list of prioritized or ranked projects will be brought back before the City Commission for authorization of the grants that would be provided to those specific locations.
There's a couple Main Street businesses that are in here tonight that I want you guys to consider it, and take them up on it. This is a good thing. Matter of fact, you'll get a chance to speak if you'd like to speak to this. We're gonna open it up.
Well, and I do know for some of our businesses that tried to use that other facade program that we had, it was very clunky. It wasn't easy to work through, and I think this is a little easier, obviously, to work through for people. And as I'm reading through this, Just so people understand, there's some really good language in here as to what's eligible and what's not eligible. Projects are ineligible if they include new structural construction, government properties, if the work is self-performed, or the project is owned and occupied by a not-for-profit or national franchise. I think it's important for people to hear that. Funding will not be awarded for equipment purchase, promotional literature, for minor brickwork or tuck pointing or other cosmetic improvements unless part of an eligible exterior improvement. Projects where the outcome is temporary or is owned solely by the occupying business, with the exemption of signage, and projects that do not reflect the values of the quality, design, and historic preservation of our community. And I know that that's very important, obviously, for downtown. So obviously, some real good support for small businesses coming into our community, which we are all for, but just making sure that, we're covering the things that need to be covered, so.
Chris, how far does the zone extend for eligibility for the process? Is it a block or 2 blocks or?
The way it was written, it defines the downtown and the central business district and surrounding neighborhoods. So we were trying not to limit it to just the downtown, but, there are some neighborhood businesses and activities further south on Main Street or in any particular direction where folks are making nice investments in the community, and if it's a small business, why not be able to support that as well, in addition to everything downtown?
So it's not a specific 1 block, 2 block, 3 block thing, it's a general kind of a,
Yep.
Any other questions, comments? Any citizen comments? Come on up.
I'm Melanie Walker, and I do have a business downtown, 431 North Main Street. My question is this required to go by prevailing wages?
No, it's a local program. It's not subject to any federal or state requirements, so it's not subject
That's
to prevailing wages.
Good news.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the
Very
clunker
good.
before,
We're not
so.
just talking about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, thank
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other citizen comments? Hearing none. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve resolution number R-99-22.
second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution R-99-22 approved.
Resolution R-100-22, a resolution to levy assessments to pay for the cost of nuisance abatements.
Thank you. Commission, as you know, there are occasions where properties are not being maintained, and it becomes necessary for the city to deploy the resources necessary to abate the nuisance conditions at such locations. Oftentimes, that relates to removing trash, mowing high grass, or occasionally trimming trees. And when we demolish structures, it would also be subject to this discussion we're having here. This is the once-a-year time of the year when we can submit the expenses incurred in doing those kind of activities, as certifying them to the county auditor so that they can be assessed to the property via the tax payment process. You've got included with the item here the exhibits that show the work that has been completed. A lot of it's grass cutting, and some of this is 2021 expenses that have carried over, then all of the 2022 activity to date. So about $54,000 in just cutting high grass, $2,000 in trash removal, and $63,000 related to demolition activities. Those were the projects that were completed last year. And when we invoiced the property owner for all of these items, we've not received payment. So the next step is to place it on the property as an assessment. The auditor would spread it out over 2 billing cycles. So for a full year, each half year, they get half the amount in their statement. And the idea being that we recoup those expenses that have been supported by the taxpayers that way. Ultimately, not all of these are paid, and they end up riding with the property, and then at such time there's a property transfer or a sale, they would be collected at that time. So our request this evening is that you approve this resolution so that we can certify the expenses that we've incurred to the auditor and ask them to be assessed to the property. Thank you.
All right, any comments by commissioners?
Do I win the award for having the most in my ward?
Ward-wise, probably.
I didn't look at it by geography, sorry.
Does that mean you have to pay the,
I'm
pay the assessment?
I'm hoping not, but that's,
I really don't know.
Are there any citizen comments regarding? All right, hearing none. I move that we adopt resolution number R-100-22.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution number R-100-22 is approved.
Resolution number R-101-22, a resolution authorizing a purchase order to Greevy Chrysler for the purchase of 3 Dodge Durango Pursuit vehicles. Rick Byron is going to present the resolution.
Good evening. I come before you today to ask for the authorization to start a PO to purchase 3 Dodge Durango Pursuit vehicles as part of our ongoing fleet replacement program and keeping our vehicles in good working order. The current market for vehicles today is very complex, and in previous years, when we purchased police vehicles, the opening bid process would begin in March or April of the year that you're budgeting them for. But since COVID, that has changed remarkably, and now is the time where this is opening up, and there's no consistency from the last 2 years. We have, in an effort to plan ahead, we have been in touch with every dealership, Ford and Chrysler products, that we've ever purchased vehicles from under the state bid, and there are no answers out there. We were very lucky about 2 weeks ago to get the information from Greevy, where they reached out to us and advised that there is going to be a window of opportunity for the Chrysler products, but that it would be open for a very short period of time, with the potential being less than 24 hours, because just the number of vehicles being produced isn't as high as it used to be. So we were advised that if we did not have a PO in place when that window opens, we would not get a vehicle. And that's why we come before you tonight. And as part of our program, this year we're scheduled for 3 marked vehicles and 1 unmarked vehicle. But there's no need to be in a hurry about the unmarked vehicle, so tonight is strictly about the marked vehicles. Greevy has indicated that the opening of the bids would come as early as today. Fortunately, it did not, so we had a plan in place should it happen, but we haven't been contacted by them yet. So that's why we come to you today instead of typically in the year that we would purchase them. So
How do you feel about Durangos?
we have 3 of them in service now that are approximately, they're 2 years old, but they've only been in service for about a year because of the issue with those is we received them prior to the shutdowns, and it took us almost a year and almost 14 months to get them upfitted. But we have had a great experience with them in terms of the overall maintenance, the overall comfort, and upkeep has been very minimal. So we're very happy with the quality of them and the performance of them. So we aren't seeing any issues. Now, in 2018, for some reason, Ford had a bad year, and those cars that we will be replacing have been a burden on our maintenance funds. So it's good timing.
And I understand from you that they are 6-cylinder vehicles, which I
Yes.
think is, when you talk about pursuit vehicle, I guess I was watching Motor Trend magazine, and I was thinking about what it was going to look like and operate like. But 6-cylinder makes a lot of sense, I think, for.
Yeah, the pursuit vehicle can kind of be confusing in that Ford calls them police interceptor vehicles, Chrysler calls them pursuit vehicles. That really means nothing more than the suspension is heavier, the cooling system's heavier because of the, the running time of the vehicles. So the batteries are heavy duty to maintain a vehicle that's in a fleet that's going to be operating, potentially around the clock. So pursuit vehicle has nothing to do with the engine size and their capability to chase down a suspect. So the vehicles that we get just for fuel economy and there is no need for the V8. It saves about $12,000 a vehicle. So the V6, we've had V6s for years. We're not going to them just recently. I think the Chevy Caprices we had, Chris, were the last ones that had V8s in them, and that was 2000. So that's nothing new to our fleet. They've always been V6s.
You catch people with V6s too.
Well, I'm old enough to remember when we had a couple of four-cylinder
Skate cars.
patrol
I've
cars.
seen
That's
those.
that's been some time ago.
Seen them.
Chief, just a question of clarification. I know in the past, these vehicles, you have to have certain ones because of the equipment that's put on them, et cetera. We do have a local car dealership. They obviously were able to bid on this, and I always want to make sure that people know that as we go outside of our community, and so obviously they were able to bid on this if they could.
Right, they've actually approached us probably the last 3 years, but the specifications on the Dodges prior to last year, or 2 years ago, 2021, and I'm talking model years because obviously tonight's for 2023, so when I say 2 years ago, the 2021s were the first time that they were able to meet the specifications required for our setup, to include the computers in the middle where the actual gear shifter used to be in the middle, which we couldn't put our computers in there. So they were able, Chrysler was able to make the changes necessary. And at that time, the local dealership actually beat the state bid prices, and that's where we purchased the 3 cars that we currently have. So they were the first dealership we reached out to this year in an effort to budget, and they couldn't give us any answers or any update as to when things would take place. And we actually contacted them again after Greevy had reached out to us to see if they were able to see that same window, and they couldn't offer us anything at this time.
Well, I think with vehicle shortages, it's just so hard, so.
Yep.
But I just wanted to make our citizens know that we did reach out to our local dealership as well.
And that's where, like, the unmarked car is a little bit different in terms of specifications, so we would certainly look there first, and I couldn't see a reason why we wouldn't stay there if we decided to move on with that purchase.
Great, okay, thank you.
As replacement vehicles, what happens to the older vehicle? Is it sold, or is it, are you going to hang on to it?
We don't in the police department, no, we don't typically hang on to them. Sometimes we'll keep them for court vehicles, or we'll keep them for what we call school vehicles. If an officer's going to Cincinnati, Columbus for a class, they can take those cars. But we have vehicles right now that are suitable for that. So we have a number of options, but one is to offer it to other departments within the city. And if they can find have a need for it, that's great. But if not, then we put it on eGov, and recently we've done fairly well for the number of miles on the vehicle, the number of hours on the vehicle, and the condition's usually okay, but we've done well with the eGov too. So we explore all those options and go with whatever benefits the city.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? Do we have citizen comments? Questions? All right,
I'll make a motion then
all right,
to approve the resolution.
all right.
And I'd second it.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion has carried. All right.
Resolution 102-22, a resolution establishing trick-or-treat beggars night in the city of Piqua.
Okay. So the Miami County Council has set 2022's countywide trick-or-treat night for Thursday, October 27th. This date was determined in 2021 as part of a 5-year schedule. Trick or Treat Night will be held the last Thursday in October through 2025. So we'll need a motion then to,
And before we do that, just so people understand, this is set by the Miami County Safety Council with the idea that every Miami County community celebrates Trick or Treat Night on the same night. And I know a lot of people get frustrated because we're not doing it on 31st or whatever, but it's just to keep things the same within the county. So it's something that that they set and that every city goes along with it.
The other concern was that we do not have trick or treat on a night when some churches are having church services, and Wednesday night, I think, was one of those nights. And so it's an attempt to find a time when traffic may not be an issue for kids who are trick or treating, and also when we're conflicting with other groups that have regularly scheduled activities.
so Thursday, October 27th, and is it my understanding it will be 6 to 8? 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
I'd move the approval of Resolution R102-22.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We come now to public comment time. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the City Commission regarding agenda items, issues, or to provide information. Comments are requested to be limited to 5 minutes, and specific questions should be addressed to the city manager's office. Are there comments? Come forward, please.
Good evening, Council. My name's Brandon. I live down in Seminole Ridge, Seminole Way. Hopefully I did this correctly. If not,
Could you step a little closer to the mic?
Yeah.
That'll help.
I've called the city several times about construction dumping down there on Seminole Way. Nothing's been done. It's been about 4 months since I made my initial complaint. So I'm coming to you guys to see what we can do to get this all cleaned up. It's an eyesore for the neighborhood. It's a mess. My kids play in the area. There's a fire hydrant that's actually hidden by the debris. There's fuel tanks that are out there that aren't in the proper safe manner for the EPA regulations, as well as death fluid barrels that are just out there. So I'm just trying to come to the city and see if we can get a resolution. It just seems like nothing's been done. My first complaint was made in May, I believe.
Who'd you talk to, you
In May?
remember?
It was the code enforcement gentleman, I can't remember his name. And then I didn't get anywhere. Basically what I was told, well, I'll see what I can do. And then from there, nothing. So I called and left a message for the city manager. A female called me back, I can't remember her name. She said, well, I'll send you an email with all the updates. That was last month, and I haven't gotten an email or anything with any updates. I'm not one to complain because I know that sometimes things are hard to fix. So,
But you want something done, right?
but I would like something done. I mean, the grass is extremely high. There's trash. There's old construction debris. So A-frames for roofs, cinder blocks, old pallets, where they dump old concrete. There's just a pile of concrete in the middle of the empty field that's across the street. Old foundation blocks that are just dumped where they destroy them. They just dump them there. Pickle concrete comes out, empties their trucks, and all the concrete comes down into the drainage system. So if that ever gets clogged, who's responsible for fixing that? Most likely me, because it's my drainage.
And this is on Seminole Way?
Yes, at the dead end of Seminole Way, if you come in off the first subdivision of Indian Ridge.
Okay.
You know who owns it?
I don't know who actually owns it. I believe the developer's Alex, but I'm not sure what his last name is. So I'd just like to see something done. It's an eyesore. I'm not trying to say that I'm uppity or anything, but I pay a lot of money to live in a nice neighborhood. And I recently looked at the last pages that we had of notes from the city council. There was 3 pages of fines of people who live in lower class subdivisions or areas who are paying $500 plus to have their grass mowed. You know, some people's financials aren't in the best shape to actually own a lawnmower, so they're being fined by the city $500, where I make a complaint and it's not being done in the neighborhood that I pay to live in. So I would like to see something done, if we can see if the
Paul, is there
resolution.
anything we can do?
Yeah, and thank you for coming this evening and bringing that to light. We've been working on it for the last 4 months. The developer was out of the country for a period of that time, but we are working with them to get compliance. A lot of it has to do with the amount of time that particular developer has been doing that activity. And even though it's not something that's condoned by the city, it's going to take us a little while to get him within compliance. So we are working on it. If you would like to schedule a meeting with myself or Chris Schmeezing, who's in development, feel free to talk to us afterwards.
Okay, yeah, I also brought pictures if you guys want to see those as well.
I live over there, so I've seen
Okay,
it. Thank
all
you.
right, well, thank you guys.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for coming. We appreciate it.
Stay in touch with us and let us know.
Yeah.
Have you emailed us at all or anything? Send us, you can send us emails as well.
The
Okay?
commissioners,
I would
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Joe Wilson, 211 West Green. I'm here with Neighbors Helping Neighbor, which is a program under the PNIC group. And I just want to give you an update on a few things. We did do one house so far with the city's help. The city supplied all the workers, some Gatorade, ladders. And we did a real nice job on a house over on Roosevelt. Turned out very well. Found out the mayor can paint. She did a good job. And
That was fun. It was-
yeah,
I enjoyed
it
that.
was a good time.
Great.
And I didn't know you could paint that well.
No, thank
But
you.
anyway, that worked out very well. The lady was very happy with the job we did. She couldn't have been any nicer. She provided a lot of stuff for us to eat and drink, so it went really well. We've had some weather issues, some volunteer date issues on some of the others. Every one we scheduled tends to be canceled due to the rain, so we have to redo it. And then, so anyway, long story short, we're going to be doing our second house this weekend, weather permitting, which I think, as of today, it looks okay, but, you never know with Mother Nature. But we're going to do one over on Water Street near the dollar store there. So that'll be a pure paint job on that one. And then 2 weeks after that, the Council of Churches, I think that's what they're called, throughout the whole county, they have a public service week where they look for projects. And last year they had no projects in Piqua. So I said, well, I can fix that for you. And so we have two houses scheduled for the 24th, one on Ash Street, one on Park Avenue. Those will be a combination of paint and weeding. Some of the weeds are taller than I am. And so we'll have fun with that. So what I'm asking first, I want to thank the city for all the people they provided. Paul was very helpful with that. And Kristen French helped us a lot with that, organized it, and she's a good painter as well. So that was actually a lot of fun, and again, it turned out very well. So we're still having a little trouble getting enough volunteers. We will jack you up on caffeine and sugar, and then point you to the house with a brush. So we'll get you going. So again, if anyone out there has an interest in helping us paint or do yard work in any of these homes for this year, we'd love to hear you. First, contact me if you would, so we know how many donuts to buy and to get it all organized. We're looking, I think we need about 10 people to do this weekend's work. It's a kind of a smaller group. And then the church weekend, we're going to need probably close to 30. I don't know how many volunteers we have yet, but the leader of the church told me he would work on the weather details to provide good weather. He has a connection somewhere on that. So we are hopeful that that will work. So anyone who has an interest of helping us paint, do yard work, you can give me a call. It's, again, Joe Wilson, 778-0390. And if you forget all that, contact the mayor. She'll get a hold of me. At least I hope she will.
I've got it.
Yeah, because everybody knows her.
What's your number?
So,
Make sure it's posted in various places so that the public knows as well.
where would that be?
Where would you have a Facebook page for Peanut?
Yeah, we do have a Facebook page. Yeah, we've already got it on there.
Thank you.
Asking for help, and we have some pictures of the house we've done. And so anyway, any help we can get, of course, we'd accept checks, anything that people want to give us, but we're really looking for bodies that will paint, and, you know, the pay will be coffee and donuts. So anyway, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good
Joe.
job, Joe.
Anyone else? Comments? All right. We'll now hear the city manager's report.
Good evening, Commissioners. I have a few items this evening. Of the first item, the paving on Ash Street, which I'm sure everybody is very excited to have happen, is going to commence on Monday, September 12th. There'll be one lane taken during the day, and it's going to take them approximately 8 to 10 days to complete the full-depth repairs that are required. Those would be the bumpy areas that you experience as you drive down the street. Once they complete that, they're going to do the resurfacing, which will be done at night, and the project's expected to be completed by October 15th. So expect delays during the day, especially the morning and afternoon rush hour. Try to avoid it if possible, but it will be from about 200 feet to the west of Scott Drive, past the interchange to the corner of Looney. So that's much needed, and I'm glad to see they'll be out there doing that. Also, too, the Swift Echo Franz ODNR project that has been ongoing. The community summits have been taking place with the property owners around the bodies of water, as well as the Citizen Advisory Committee, which has been meeting. That's going to continue on, and if you'd like to find information on that, it can be found on the website at piqua-dam-study2022.com. So you can just get on there. All the documents are online. Also, if you would sign up for Piqua Alert, anything that comes up that has to do with legislation or planning commission or anything before the public, that would be announced on the Piqua Alert. And lastly, school started today, and I have to say the buses are out, the kids are moving about, and please drive very carefully because people forget over the summer that the kids are out and crossing the street, especially in the morning and the afternoon. Aside from that, that's the end of my report. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. We'll have commissioners' comments, and we'll start with Vice Mayor Lee.
Well, I want to say, watch out for all the kids going back to school. Today was the first day. Some schools let out a little later because increased traffic, but it'll being the first day, it's a pattern, you know. People will get into the routine of things, and hopefully that'll calm down somewhat. I'd like to congratulate the Piqua Indians football team for beating Troy again. It makes the game score all tied, 66 wins for us, 66 for them, and 6 ties. I'm not reading anything on all those sixes. I don't like that number, but it is what it is. We'll break it next year when we win again, so we'll be 67.
And there was a sneezing boy who seemed to play a significant role in part of
He
the
did.
activity, so.
His name was called numerous times.
Times, I heard. So, I'd like to thank, believe it or not, Mayor Robin Oda of Troy. This is the second year in a row we've had a bet. The bet is that if Piqua wins, she comes to Piqua, buys a T-shirt. When we went to Elite, bought a T-shirt, and she has to wear it and post it. And if you go to my Facebook page or her Facebook page, to be honest, you'll see us at Elite today. We went there and bought the shirt, and she's wearing it proudly. Piqua Indians T-shirt, very nice one. So I'm just so glad that our Indians are so good that they can protect me from having to wear a Troy one. And I hope they continue the trend. Trick or treat, remember, as we just set the date at 10/27 of 22 of this year, between 6 and 8. And just keep that in mind because people will ask. I'll put it out. The city will probably put something out about that as well. And just information is knowledge. A lot of people ask. And I guess that's all I've got at this point in time. So thank you.
All right. Commissioner Vetter.
Okay, have several things. Just a reminder, we talked before about the fact that it is not appropriate to be parking on gutters, on the right-of-way, or on sidewalks. And we have several places in town where that's occurring. If you see that and are concerned about it, talked with Chief Byron, and he would appreciate that people call the non-emergency number for police services, and the officer will investigate that. And it's possible you could get a parking ticket for not parking appropriately. We're continuing to have problems with the trash containers that are put out early, left out late. My understanding is that we hope that you will put your trash container out the night before trash is scheduled for pickup, and within 24 hours you will remove it to your private property, and that would, I think, help the look of the city quite a bit. I had an interesting call from a person who was trying to explain to his granddaughter the foul and abusive language that he was seeing traveling about town with some flags and other kinds of things. I've had an opportunity to talk with the city attorney, and I understand freedom of speech. But because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And there's some pretty nasty, inappropriate things, in my opinion, that are being posted around. And it made it hard for him to explain to his young granddaughter what that was all about. And so I think that as a community, we need to take a step backwards and ask the question, although we can do something, should we do it? And it has to do with what I would call foul and abusive language. I attended a meeting for the hydraulic, the Swift Run Echo Lake Francis Pond presentation. Great presentation. Would encourage people to see that presentation. I like the approach. I like the way it was handled. I like the fact that alternatives are being discussed. And I think it's overall a very good presentation. So I would recommend that highly to people. I got another phone call from a person concerned about abandoned vehicles in Piqua, and I would assume that if you think a vehicle is not currently in service and has not been moved in a specific time period, the police can receive a call on a non-emergency number to track that. The person who called me was very concerned because I think he felt like the city is slipping backward in terms of having too many abandoned vehicles, and so understood his concern, and I promised to voice it. Lastly, the Johnson Farm and Indian Agency will be holding their fall presentation program on October the 1st. That's a Saturday. That's the last public day for that. And if I look and smell like marine paint, that's because I've been painting the canal boat to get ready for that event. So it's that'll be a Saturday, and it'll be a nice fall event. So hopefully we'll have some pretty trees by that point. And please come.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, Mayor Casey.
Yeah, so I was at the Piqua Troy game on Friday night, and I agree with what Vice Mayor Lee said. It was a wonderful night, and I love the fact that we have won 3 games and nobody has scored anything against our Piqua Indians so far this year, which is great. I will say also that one of the other schmeezing young men at University of Dayton made quite a play this weekend to capture their 100th, I think the 100th win for the coach. Is that correct? So, yeah, and Ben Schmeezing was quite the person involved in that. So lots of good things happening with the Schmeezing family. Also, just a reminder, next week, Piqua Indians will be on the road, and then the following Friday night will be the Piqua-Sidney game. Another great rivalry of Miami County, Shelby County, so come out and support our Indians. Also, just want to remind you what's happening in the community. On the 8th, which is this Thursday, is the arts reception for the Piqua Arts Council, which will be at Apple Tree Gallery, and that's always a wonderful event. We're local artists, and it's one of the only juried art shows in this area, and there are artists that come from all over in order to participate in this art show. So it's always a wonderful, wonderful time just to see some great art and just to visit with folks here in our community. And then the following Thursday is the Chamber of Commerce Steak Fry. And I know that if you're interested in going to that, that is also another great event to talk with some of our business owners. There's great auction items there and different things, and there's always a wonderful meal out at Lloyd Fry's hangar. So you can put those two things on your schedule, and if you want tickets to the steak fry, I'm sure you can go by the Chamber of Commerce and pick some up. I am so thankful for Piqua Compassion Network. I can remember when I moved here to serve Westminster Presbyterian Church, Piqua Compassion Network was just getting started. And as I look at faces, I know some of them, as you know, have been here, like Gloria, from the very beginning, from the Bethany Center, and I can remember just the little things that happened there and the love and care that people put into what was going on there. And it's been so wonderful to see how this has grown and how it has continued to serve our community and our citizens, and how it has continued to reinvent itself with new and exciting programs in order to make Piqua a much better place to live. So thank you all. Thank you, Rebecca. And thank you for 15 wonderful years, and here's to many, many more. Also, Joe, thank you for what you're doing with Neighbors Helping Neighbors. I know this is very much a part of your heart. This is something that you have been very passionate about. And I always say it makes a much better community when we can talk to one another in the grocery store after we have maybe painted a house together or helped, and I've seen that happen before with a variety of other projects. So thanks, too, for helping to make our community a better place. And I will not be here at the next commission meeting, so I'll need to be excused. I'm finally taking my child to college. So, but thank you, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And I simply have a quote with Piqua Compassion Network helping so many in our community. My quote is, "We can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone." So thank you. And I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. We are adjourned.
Thank
Have a
you.
great evening.
Yep.